Hello and welcome back to Matthew's Blueprint for Britain. I'm new to all this, but you're making the difference. And don't forget, I remembered my poppy. We're still in November. I know Remembrance Day has passed, but you know, David Whammy, you still need to learn, mate. Look, I am joined tonight by a really good friend, someone who I've got to know really, really well. And actually, he's a bit of a rival of mine because he co-hosts the Political Frienemies podcast with another guy called Matthew Holbert. It is the one, the only Doctor, he's forgotten that in his little title below, Dr. Chris Newton. How are you, Chris?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, been really busy, but it's I don't like the fact that it's November and it's getting colder and darker. I just
It's
wish we can
dark by
fast
like
forward like until March.
5:30 and
Yeah,
non-stop rains at the moment. It's horrible.
yeah. I just wish we can fast forward until March, so
Yeah.
and get back to spring and summer. I don't like the cold months.
So we'll get rid of not only British Standard Time, but we'll get rid of just the whole winter months as well. See, that's the sort of blueprint you get on this
Yeah.
platform, guys. Right, let's
Actually,
jump.
I should say
Go on.
I've still got your book.
Oh,
I
thank you
haven't
for
sold
the.
it on eBay yet. I haven't put it on
Yeah,
eBay
thank
yet.
you.
So,
See if you can get your money back. No, look,
yeah.
thank you. So that's very kind of you. A little plug there of Matthew's A Blueprint, conveniently with the name of the podcast. Do you see what I'm doing, guys? Do you understand? See, and it's always over the shoulder. So, you know, make sure you get that. It's a bit of fun, and I'll sign it for you anyway. Look, right, let's get on with this week. It has been a hell of a week for the Labour Party. I think they're imploding. You know, we had the whole cross briefings of Wes leader and is Ed Miliband going for the leadership? And, you know, are they going to have a leadership challenge? I mean, Prime Minister's questions on Wednesday was absolutely hilarious with Kemi Badenoch having fun effectively at the dispatch box against Keir Starmer. I mean, Chris, are the wheels finally going to fall off this Labour wagon?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it. I mean, it took the Tories like years before it got to the psychodrama leadership phase. And it's taken Labour, 17, 18 months?
Brilliant.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I knew this government was going to be bad. I knew because they hadn't been properly road tested in opposition. So the media, I would say, gave them a pretty easy ride.
They
So,
did.
so they hadn't
Every
really.
question before the election was soft and easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they were really enjoying the troubles that the Tories were experiencing with their leadership problems and so forth. It turns out it's not so easy when you actually get into government, is it? I mean, all of the briefing, it's just weird that, you know, we have these briefings of someone else doing a coup attempt.
Now,
And it's
who
all.
do you think it came from? Because Keir Starmer immediately launched this internal inquiry to find out who it was, and was assured it didn't come from anyone inside Number 10. Now, that to me just is like as weak as anything, or I'm assured it didn't come in from Number 10. I mean, personally, I think the traitor is Wes Streeting. I actually think these were coming from Wes. I think he's played a brilliant double bluff here, and he's saying, no, I'm not thinking of going for Prime Minister. Why would I think of doing that? I have all the support in Keir Starmer. But other names I'm hearing are people like either Lucy Powell, who's obviously come back in. There were leaks when she was in the cabinet, and then she left and the leaks stopped. And also Mr. Morgan McSweeney, the chief mastermind at Number 10. I mean, do you have any idea where it's coming from?
No, I mean, it could be Wes, like you said. We had this website being set up.
Wesforleader.com, which has been
Was it Wes that
conveniently
set
now
up?
taken down. Yeah.
Was it Wes that set up, or was it Number 10 that set it up in order to
I
do this?
heard that. Did Number 10 set up this website to almost throw Wes under? Do you really think that could be a thing?
It could be. I mean, in some respects, sometimes I hear the story and it sounds like, you know, when a dictator sort of invents a coup plot in order to, you know, smoke out the plotters and to assert their authority and to get the dissidents out of the way. It's got all the hallmarks of that. And if that is the case, then it's completely backfired because it's made Starmer look weaker and it's made Streeting actually looks much more stronger. He's had a good couple of days of doing media. So if it is a Number 10 operation, it's like everything that Number 10 does, it's completely backfired. And there's even more question marks about Starmer's leadership now. And as you say earlier, this could be the beginning of the end.
Well, I mean, the thing that I think might be the end is the straw that will break the camel's back of the budget. I mean, we're 2 weeks away now from the budget. Everyone is terrified. We're hearing rumours and cross rumours of what might be happening. U-turns left, right, and centre. I mean, I'm glad I've got the Labour flip-flops still. You know, this week it was that they were going to break the manifesto promise and increase national insurance, income tax, things like that. Now, apparently today, Rachel Reeves isn't going to do that. Frankly, none of us have any idea. I don't think they've got any idea, and we're just going to have to find out in 2 weeks' time, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, what was the point of that press conference last week? And it was billed as a very serious sort of
Yeah.
press conference, unprecedented, because it's very rare to get a chance to make a pre-budget speech like that.
Mm.
And then she's completely torn it all up. It seems exactly a week later. It's
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. And all of the stories about the coup and the plots and so forth, they're bad enough. But it comes out of the week where you had that U-turn, where you had bad economic figures, unemployment at 5%, growth at 0.11%. You had more stories about prisoners being wrongly released as well. It's a complete omni shambles. I was going to say something else then, but I
Yeah,
better
yeah,
not.
yeah. It has just been a disaster for Labour, one thing after the other. As you said, unemployment hit 5% this week. That's the same levels as in COVID, but here we are years after COVID. Growth of 0.1%. Oh, well done, Rachel. Absolutely incredible. You went for growth and you still failed to find it. And then, as you said, David Whammy, the revelation that we've had 91 escaped prisoners. Well, not escaped because we let them out by mistake, and hundreds of them over the last couple of years. What the hell is going on? This country is utterly broken, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, everywhere you turn is, as you say, the NHS as well. We've got the junior doctors striking again. Labour again talked a big game, didn't they? In
Yeah.
opposition, saying
And
we're going
gave
to
them a
sort this
massive
out.
pay rise, and that didn't work.
Yeah, yeah. It turns out again, government is more difficult than they thought, and everything is, as you say, the wheels are falling off, and
Mm.
everything it's breaking down. And we're going to get on to the BBC next, but it just seems like all of the institutions are crumbling, and it's not a good feeling at the moment.
No. Now, on to, as you said, the Britain bashing corporation, also known as the BBC. I mean, they have got themselves in some hot bother. So, for those who don't know, which would be amazing because I think it's the number one story everywhere, apart from probably on the BBC, they've probably found some other thing to talk about instead. Donald Trump is threatening to sue the BBC $1 billion because the BBC edited a speech of his after the down at the Capitol, saying that they were going to go and fight. They cut out hours and hours of his speech to make it sound more, inciting violence than it was. The BBC finally admitted that they had misled people in their editing of the video. They've apologized to Trump, but Trump has said he wants an apology and compensation, or else he will threaten to sue for $1 billion. The BBC said it's not going to give any compensation. It has sent an apology and is now waiting to hear back from the White House. And you know when the deadline was, Chris? It's today. It's tonight.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of hours left. Obviously, America a couple of hours behind. Hopefully, Donald Trump's going to take some pity on us, and maybe we'll get some reforms of the BBC. What the heck has the BBC done here, Chris? Like, what on earth? This is not the first scandal either, is it?
No, and this is off the back of an internal memo, which was based on a report, which outlined a whole series of issues in which the BBC is said to have been systematically biased on. So you have Trump, and again, it's not just BBC Panorama; it's Newsnight now. That was the revelation last night, but also on Gaza, also on sort of history programs, programs on the history of empire. It just reinforces what a lot of us have been saying, and not just people like me, but former executives and former presenters of the BBC, that there is a left-wing bias
Mm.
within the BBC. You're talking about people like Helen Bowden sort of making this observation, the former executive, Roger Mosey, Andrew Neil, Peter Sissons, John Humphreys. Just there's a lot of people who've worked at the BBC and have said that there is this ingrained bias, and of course people from the left are saying you're talking rubbish, they're actually biased
Well, I
against
was
the
just going to
left.
say,
I just
Chris,
don't.
How can you say that? The left will argue all the BBC does is get reform on, get Nigel Farage on, trump the right-wing rhetoric, when really the reality is the BBC is as far left as you could probably get.
Yeah, that's right, and so there's a lot of evidence, and the internal memo compiled a lot of evidence. Civitas compiled a report in 2023, which documented a lot of this as well. But I just don't understand this idea that it's biased to the left, but it's now catching up with the BBC. What the
Consequences of actions. Oh God.
but here's the thing: there are lots of similarities between our two favourite left-wing organisations, the BBC and Labour, in the sense of how they're handling their crises. In the sense that you see representatives of the BBC and their defenders this week saying, "Oh, how great the BBC! BBC
Yep.
is the standard." Well,
Ed
the only
Davey doing
standard in the
everything he
BBC
can.
is double standards, and they're very defensive, and there's no kind of reading the room or self-reflection, and
Mm.
surely this is some time for humility on the part of the BBC.
Yeah. No, I think the BBC is absolutely toast. I think this is their last chance. Nigel Farage said that earlier this week. It's the last chance for the BBC. And I do think so. The people paying the license fee was cut by, I think, 300,000 last year and the year before. Those are not numbers that are sustainable. I think the BBC is toast if it's not careful. I don't know how or what way it's going to work, but the BBC has got to look at itself and get away from just providing opinion. Just provide the facts. Let the public come up with the opinion. But, I don't think the BBC is going to be turning around anytime soon. Talking of opinion, your story this week, because remember, the third story is always over to the guest to say whatever they want, from national and international news to whoever won the local bake sale and should we carry on the bake sales, things like that. You've gone for the stats that 52% of Brits would rather be born in 1975 than 2025. I mean, where does this come from? And I mean, really? People want to be living 50 years ago rather than today?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, this is my choice. So if this segment goes sour, then it's my fault, I suppose.
I'm
But
sure it won't. I'm sure it won't.
but yeah, for extraordinary sort of figures, 52% of Brits say they'd rather be born in 1975. 63% believe that people were happier back then. 60% said that Britain was safer than 58 years ago. There are some positive aspects as well. The survey said that healthcare and education is better today than it was back then. And in comparison with other countries, we are one of the most nostalgic countries, according to this survey, of the countries that was surveyed. I suppose the 52% thing. I mean, I don't know what the age breakdown of that survey was. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether there was some older people there
People
or
reminiscing
what.
about the good old
Yeah,
days.
but the reason why I brought this up is that we've one of the things that annoys me about general assumptions, and I have to say on the left as well, is this notion that we today have got everything figured out, that we've sorted everything
Absolutely.
out, and that there's nothing really to learn from the past. The past was this bigoted time where we can't really sort of learn anything, and they did things wrong. And I think, yes, we mustn't have a simplistic view of the past, and the past is complex, and I'd say this as a professional historian, but also I think it's important to note that we haven't got everything figured out, especially if you look at
I mean, we
crime,
still
and you
can't
look
get
at knife
HS2
crime.
built, for example.
Sorry, what was that?
We still can't get HS2 built.
No, exactly, yeah, and it's just, and I just think again a bit of humility on our part, and we should ask the question about what can we learn from the past, especially with the changes since the 1960s. A lot of the social changes, yes, there's been some good changes, more tolerant and so forth, but we've lost a lot of things as well.
Mm.
So national solidarity, sense of community, the values of duty, responsibility. And I think it's important to reflect on that, and to ask ourselves what from the past can we use to make a better present and tomorrow.
I think something we've massively lost is pride. Pride of this country. So many people are trying to rewrite our history, look only at the negatives and the darkness and not look at any of the good things we did. I mean, I sit in every episode with a Union Jack on my shirt because I am proud of this country. I love this country. I think Britain is Great Britain. It's not just Britain. But the current state of Britain isn't great. Things aren't great at the moment. There are, yes, as you said, education, health is in a better state than it was 50 years ago, but it's still not where we hold the ideals and the aim for. I make the joke about HS2. It's going to take us 30 more years to build the blooming railway. Heathrow third runway. It's going to take probably 20 years. It's just all of these little things. And then you see it at the moment. The state of the government, the fact that we are just a laughing stock around the world means pride is probably something we're missing a bit at the moment. I think if you go back 50 years, people were proud of their country. I mean, they're not just shortly after, the Second World War. People were so proud. You'd have flags flying everywhere. We had just saved the world from, Nazi Germany. But here we are now, almost apologizing for everything in the past. I mean, I am slightly concerned, though. 1975 is very close to 1984, and some would argue that we're sort of going through that at the moment. So, where do you think that balance is between, yes, there are some things now, but actually there was a lot more, pride, as you said, feeling of community, that sort of thing back in the day.
It's worth saying that 1975, that 70s wasn't a great decade as well. So if you compare him from that decade, things must be
things were pretty
sort of
bleak
bad.
anyway. So it's quite a shocker that we'd rather be back there.
And you just and also, I don't know if you saw last week of that 100-year-old veteran on Good Morning Britain said that. I mean, it's
what was it all
heartbreaking.
worth?
He said, what was World War II sort of worth for him in relation to Britain? It's just very sad that someone with that, and again, he carries with him 100 years of wisdom, and we should listen to him. And the presenters, I think, didn't treat him very well. He said, well, he's brought this 100 years of wisdom. He fought a world war, and I think we need to listen to that, and because he has something valuable to tell us.
Well, that's where I get really annoyed about small little things like the poppy, for example. I just, it's a little thing that we all wear once a year for Remembrance Day. I like to wear it for a bit extra around it because I just think it means something. If someone sees you wearing it, it means something. Nowadays, on Armistice Day on Tuesday, travelling into work on the train, less than 10 people were wearing a poppy. Genuinely, going into central London, the capital of this country, less than 10 people. Remembrance Sunday, yes, everyone, if you're standing in a parade, make sure they've got a poppy on, but how many people out just in the public generally? It's small little things like that. The colours of the flags, people not wanting to have anything to do with this country anymore. That's my frustration. People talk down Britain. And at the moment, we do sort of need a bit of open heart surgery, I think. We do need to say, yeah, these things are broken, but this is where we could get to. Let's get there. That's where we've got to go in this country, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would disagree with in terms of that poll is education. So I've seen sort of O-level history papers from the 70s actually, and they seemed more rigorous than the ones today. And talking of history, especially with Bridget Phillipson's reforms and so forth, there is this increasing simplicity about our history, just overly focusing on the negative aspects. Yes, we need a balanced approach. Yes, we need to acknowledge the negative aspects of our history, but also the positive aspects as well, which you've rightly highlighted. And we also need to tie in with the title of this podcast, a blueprint of hope and a blueprint of the future. And to use the past and to draw inspiration from the past, because they did some things better than us. We might do some things better today, but I think they did some things better than us then. So if we use the past as some kind of inspiration, then we can get to hopefully a better future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, people need to stop talking down this country is what I think, and start, as you said, coming up with a blueprint. You're completely right, I think, on the points about history. I mean, I certainly think, if we were asking people from 50 years ago who succeeded Henry VIII, for example, I think they might get the answer to that correct instead of what David Whammy said and said his father, Henry VII. But, there we go.
Operating in some kind of reverse time warp or something.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to go back in time to a day where David Lammy wasn't apparently the second most powerful person in charge of this country. But my God, we'll leave that there for another episode. Look, Chris, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you? Because obviously there is the brilliant, great other podcast that people could find too, isn't there?
Yeah, that we're called Political Frienemies. We're on YouTube and all good podcasting platforms. We're on X at Poll Frenemies, and you can find me personally at Dr. Dr. Chris Newton
Brilliant.
on X as well.
No, look, Chris, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really, really grateful. We have built a great friendship over the last couple of months.
Yeah.
I've come on Political Frenemies many times. I know I'll be on it many more times, to be honest,
we'll
as well.
definitely have you again.
It is great fun. Thank you so much for joining. Great conversation. Great story as well. Look, everyone, get involved. Have your comments. Have your arguments. Tell me if I'm wrong, because frankly, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. We're all here to be friends, or maybe even political frenemies. But that's the end of Matthew's Blueprint for Britain with me, Matthew Goodman Freeman, and Dr. Chris Newton, who you can find on Political Frenemies as well. Thank you very much. Have a good night. And Chris, ta-ra. See you soon.
Goodbye.